online professional development and different learning resources divided up into 60,000 different video tutorials. And the neat thing about Atomic Learning is it uses that same LTI technology that UCU uses, so that the integration for our learning management system, for example, is a seamless experience for students. It's also a mobile-friendly piece of technology, and it's also accessible, which is a big deal today. And this is all about that on-demand sort of education, that just-in-time training type of tool. That nowadays, with things changing so fast, as was mentioned earlier, we need this kind of support to help fill in the gaps. So Atomic Learning, I think, has a lot of potential for us. Another thing that we can do with that tool is you can, what they call, assign training. But what that allows us to do is if, for example, you're a student that's coming to College of Lake County, you can put these training modules into their account where they would see them as, here's some things that we know will be helpful for you to be familiar with. Maybe you know them already, then you don't even have to look. But you can also take a look and find out, well, what could be helpful, what kind of training would help me as I enter, into taking college courses. Things like Word, things like Excel. And then certainly those could be brought in by individual faculty members as they are a good part of the content. iTunes U, another method to get information where where our students reside. That's a dedicated part of Apple's iTunes Music Store. And then this is what we were talking about earlier, some of the future of massively open online courses at CLC. Saw a great example of this at a community college in New Orleans, where they created what they called an open campus. And they essentially created free online non-credit developmental courses and tutorials. And so it was a great outreach for their community. It was a way for students to potentially build up skills if they were diminished at that point, and potentially get them ready for moving into college. And it was also a big outreach to the community in that those faculty members now had an identity in the community. They had high school students that were using those developmental courses as skill builders. So that brings us to some of those potential MOOC topics here at CLC. Those developmental subject areas and that preparation piece, that could be huge. English language instruction is a very popular program, even for people internationally that are looking for that kind of information. And then international student recruitment. We could build off of our previous experience and do something about how to be a successful international student. And then finally, I just had the bringing it all together idea of we're using a lot of technology in all of our different courses. Technology itself, especially in the classroom, and we've started to see this with our master plan activities, which have been great in terms of bringing in technology to the classroom and standardizing it, which is a great thing for faculty because they know whichever room they're going into, they're going to have that ability to utilize technology, whether it's a document camera or other things as well. The bring your own device idea. So many students are having devices and they want to start using them in a collaborative way. So our educational technology helps faculty both provide a rich experience for those students, but also let students start to become producers of content themselves. And the use of technology then teaches them those skills for their future. And that's all I have for you.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
so we have about, well actually, very good. Yeah, very good. Excellent presentation, it was thorough.
Thanks,
You all had a chance to get a lot of questions answered. We have about 8 minutes left. And actually, I wanted to give David at least 2 minutes of those. Does anyone have a final sort of question for Scott before we move on?
Yeah, but well, not necessarily for Scott, but probably for Rich. I mean, what I don't hear is where's the concentration of the online certificates and degrees? I mean, do we have any totally online certificate or degree?
We have the AA degree is
Totally
virtually online with
Good.
the exception of speech. You have to come to the campus, I think, at least 2 times in order to give your speeches. And we've been looking at how can we get that message out? How can we advertise that more? Because again, we see a lot of advertisements every day for online education. So that is available.
Okay.
Students can do that today.
So what's the process for faculty, and are faculty receiving additional compensation when they create an online course?
We do not provide additional compensation to teach online courses. I know many community colleges do.
Not to teach, but to develop.
If we do development, there are times where we will pay them to develop, but only if we are requesting it. Meaning that I have a course that I say, I want this to be online. Now, if they come to us and say, I want to develop an online course, we see that as part of their faculty responsibility.
Who owns the course?
We own the course. And it's in our MOU. Depending on how much time, effort, and energy they put during the workday, it can be joint owned. But I can show you the pages in the contract.
No, it's all right. It just, that's where we got to get at if we want to have additional ones. Faculty have to do it.
Yeah. And, and again, I know this kind of goes a little bit to Linda's point. There are only a certain number of classes in which will do well in an online environment.
Yeah. And which subject area?
Yeah.
Which subject area?
Well, primarily video genetics. But anytime you start looking at lab courses and things of that nature, it's just...
So besides all the wonderful things we're doing with instructional technology, which I think you got a chance to see here, it was a great presentation, Scott and Rich, and we also have a whole broader and larger area with technology that we didn't have time to show you today, so I just asked David to make a few comments about our whole IT area.
2 minutes?
Well, he actually has some reading materials. He actually has some MOOC where you're going to.
There you go. There you go.
But I doubt I give you integration.
Basically, it's our responsibility to support the infrastructure of the college and of the classroom. We do a 3-year operating plan for technology. It lists, and part of all of that, we do an environmental scan to see how we're doing. We survey all students every year, all faculty, and all staff every year. And we'll send that out. We have that in here, as well as how all of the resources align. And every 2 years, we go out and benchmark what we're doing against our peer community colleges, and that information is in here as well. So we'll send that out.
Okay.
You got time for a 5-minute break?
Yep, we do. So that'll conclude it. Thank you, David. Do you want a motion to adjourn? Okay, I'll seek a motion to adjourn, please. Second. All in favor? All right, you're reconvened.
Thank you. Very good.